Market tanks, market recover, market tanks again, market recovers again. So, in the past few days, you probably saw your portfolio go all the way up, all the way down, all the way up, all the way down. Okay, and today I'm going to talk about why this is actually happening, and it's all because of the FEDS. Okay, so if you have actually been following with what the Federal Reserve has been talking about, Jerome Powell has to testify in front of the Senate and also the House. The first day before he actually went ahead to testify in front of the Senate, he actually came out with a statement saying that, of course, if we actually continue to have all these different reports saying that, labor market might be becoming pretty hot again, inflation might be going up again, all these different so-called data points might actually point to a higher terminal funds rate for the FEDS. So, if you remember from the previous SCP that we had last year in December, the SCP actually stated that we are probably going to be looking at 5.1% terminal funds rate by the end of 2023. Okay, so right now, a lot of people are already expecting that the federal funds rate are most likely going to be moving up because Jerome Powell said it himself that chances are they're going to be moving up the FFR upwards, projected to actually move it upwards in the next SCP, which we are going to be getting this month. In the month of March, we're going to be getting the next FOMC that comes with a new SCP. Okay, so a lot of us are already expecting, all right, we're going to see a new SCP that's going to be projected forward yet again. Again, like I said, I actually brought this up, I think 2 SCPs ago, which is half a year ago, that Jerome Powell is most likely going to project it upwards again. It doesn't really matter. Whatever that you're reading in the SCP, they could actually tell you that the projection of it is going to be 5.1%. It could go all the way to 7%. It doesn't really matter because if inflation does not get entrenched, if inflation doesn't come down, there's no reason for you to see any sort of number. You can see 5%, you can see 6%, you can see 7%. It doesn't make any sense anyway. Okay, because all the FEDS needs to do is for the next SCP, which is in the next quarter, they just have to say, oh, okay, you know what, we're going to be, just modifying it upwards. And then the whole SCP is going to get ruined, and then you see the market go all the way down again. Okay, so now we are getting a lot of these different reports. Just to give you guys a little bit of context, today is the 10th of March that I'm recording this video, so we have not got the jobs report that's going to be coming out later tonight. Right now it's around midnight, so technically tomorrow. We have not gotten the report just yet, but the latest report that we actually got for jobless claims actually jumped to 211,000, okay, which we were actually expecting about 190,000 alone. Right now, that means that the jobless claim is actually higher than expected. So now, if you actually see jobless claims is higher than expected, if you're just looking at the economy as a whole, it's a bad thing. That means there's more joblessness in the country. But this is a good thing for the market because this thing alone brought the market up about 2%. Okay, about technically 2% because the market was actually down 0.5%, and then it brought the market up about 1.5%. Right now it's kind of back again, that sort of thing. So this report was quite important because Jerome Powell said it himself during both the meeting with the Senate and the meeting with the House. He said it himself. In the next few reports, it's going to be very, very pivotal for him to actually see. And he will scrutinize every report as much as he can so that he can stay as unbiased as the Federal Chairman as possible. So, right now we already got 2 reports coming up. Okay, which was this jobless claims report. Yesterday we got the jobs report that was actually pretty bad, which was why it led the market to actually go down a little bit. But then afterwards it kind of recovered, so it doesn't really matter. But we got the jobs report, we got the jobless claims report, and then tomorrow we got another employment report. Okay, afterwards, which is the following week, which I'll be doing the same video immediately in this video as well, talking about CPI expectation. That's going to be coming up next week. So in total, we have 4 different reports before we actually get into FOMC. So in this 4 report, what is going to happen is that the Federal Reserve, they are going to be scrutinizing every single one of this report and see, is there really a need for them to actually bring it up to a 50 basis point increment? After the jobless claims actually came out, the chances of us actually getting a 50 basis point increment actually went down to about 60%. Previously, it was at about 70% because when we actually got the jobs report, market seems to be really good. It means that people are actually getting more jobs. There are a lot more people having jobs. Okay? So now, it's a completely different argument when the jobless claims actually came out this way. And a lot of time we were actually thinking, what the Feds are actually intending to do is actually force a recession. This was actually talked about on multiple occasions with different senators and different politicians talking about how, Jerome Powell, are you trying to force a recession here and there? Jerome Powell is not going to tell you, yes, I'm trying to force a recession, let's be honest here, okay? But honestly, in his core, you know for a fact that he do not want a recession, but he knows for a fact that a recession is a foolproof way for you to bring inflation down. Because let's be honest, right now, if inflation is going to just stay high at about 6%, a recession is probably the sure shot for you to actually bring inflation downwards. And that's, of course, what a lot of people are kind of worried about, which is why Elizabeth Warren, the Senator Elizabeth Warren, they actually brought up the fact that how unemployment usually is relatively at about 4% or so. Right now we're at about 2.7% of unemployment. And then Elizabeth Warren basically was like saying, if that's the case, then, are you trying to actually aim for 4% unemployment for us to actually bring inflation downwards? Because if that were to be the case, you're actually putting 2 million people out of a job. And I think that's kind of, I do understand where Elizabeth Warren is coming from as well. And I think Jerome Powell was actually pounded pretty hard from those questions, because what Elizabeth Warren wanted wasn't really an answer. She just wanted to vent her anger that, why do we need to let so many people lay off before we actually bring inflation downwards? But whatever the Feds actually have, the tools that the Federal Reserve actually have, is only to increase interest rates and also to balance whatever balance sheet that they have. They don't really have that much tools to the point where they are able to save everyone's job. They can actually create stimulus to help with all those people who lost their job, because that's going to create more inflation anyway. So they are pretty much hands tight, okay? So I think that, for Elizabeth Warren to kind of pound onto Jerome Powell during that meeting, to the point where Jerome Powell was getting a little bit pissy, and he was like, so what, do you want me to just quit my job and let all the people survive with 6% inflation? Would that be better for you guys? And I thought that, that's kind of the current situation of the whole entire economy at the moment, because even the Federal Reserve chairman cannot even do anything about it, okay? And right now, inflation is starting to become this sort of very, very sticky situation that we cannot really get rid of, okay? Because think about it this way. Right now, you just need inflation to continue on for one more year without going up in price. And with that happen, all the price increases that we had in the past will all solidify and become part of your everyday life, which means that all your dollar just went down, because your dollar just became weaker to whatever commodity that you're buying. Whereas a lot of us were actually expecting deflation. Well, not really expecting, but we kind of want deflation, because that's the only way that we can actually bring prices back downwards. After going through hyperinflated economy at about 7 to even 9% inflation year over year. Now we want to actually bring down inflation by having a deflation of maybe about 4%, 5% to actually level the playing field for all the prices of food, prices of rent, prices of every other commodities in the market. So if we do not see a deflation, all we're actually seeing are disinflation, which was also brought forward by one of the senators, I forgot his name. He basically said that, what we're actually getting are just disinflation. We're not even getting deflation. It simply means that prices are not going up anymore. It doesn't mean that prices are going to be going back down, which means what I've always been talking about for inflation. If today you're going to buy a product, let's say product A, for $100, and then in 5 years' time when inflation actually hits hard, this product A is going to cost you $150, okay, for example, it's going to cost you $150. You might want to bring down inflation, okay, but even if 5 years from there on out, okay, and there was zero inflation, the thing's still going to be $150, okay? It's not going to suddenly just magically go back down to $100. The only way that you can actually bring down inflated costs is via competition in a capitalistic economy. Which is why, okay, I'm sorry to say, but I am for capitalism at some level, shape or form. But you do need capitalism to help you bring in competition to bring prices down. Otherwise, you're just going to have hyperinflation, just completely destroying the whole entire commodities market in general. So yeah, I think in the past 3 days, Jerome Powell just got punched left and right, and I think that we are probably going to be getting a pretty bad report tomorrow. I'm assuming CPI is going to be pretty bad as well. Okay, and I'm going to explain to you guys why. Okay, so personally, this is my expectation video for CPI as well. So just listen up. Man, this cough is horrible. I think CPI at the moment, I don't think that we're going to suddenly see something stupid like 0.8% month over month. I think we're kind of over the whole hyperinflated month over month CPI reports as it is. However, I do think that we are still possibly going to be seeing at about 0.5% in the coming months. And, even for Jerome Powell himself, he actually talked about how, prices right now are not really being affected by energy prices. If anything, energy prices are one of the few contributing factor to how they're actually bringing down prices. Because when inflation number goes up, you actually see that the contributors are usually food, rent prices, shelter prices, other weird commodities, but it's not energy. Okay, energy was the huge buzzword for inflation in 2022, especially you probably already remember during the whole Russia-Ukraine situation. That was kind of brought forward. Russia-Ukraine actually was the last year. If you think about it, it has been one whole year. It started on the 24th of February. Right now, it's 2023 and we're in March already. So yeah, you can clearly tell how far energy prices have went up and then went back down and sort of in that kind of transition, which is why like I said, I don't think that energy prices are going to be strongly contributing to inflationary factors. However, I do think that food prices, like I said, food prices is always one of the most stickiest inflation contributor. You cannot really bring down food prices. It's not that easy for you to bring down food prices. You might bring in disinflation, but for you to actually introduce deflation into food prices is almost impossible. Which is why food shortages might very well be in our very near future. 2026, 2028, I don't know. Okay, food shortages might actually be a thing. So, if we do not control food prices, okay, the poorer middle income class or the working class, all of them are gonna get destroyed. Let's be honest, okay? Yeah, for the middle income and the working class, they are all going to get destroyed from food prices. And the high income class and the high income gainers and things like that, even they are gonna be affected, but to the point where they would most likely be making more money, so food prices wouldn't really be a huge contributor to them anyway. But for the rest of the economy, is going to be getting completely destroyed for food prices. But personally, like I said, I'm not I don't stay in America. I don't live in America. I'm nowhere near America. So the inflation doesn't exactly directly affect me, especially for food prices, especially because I'm in Singapore. Prices here are pretty much quite controlled. Even when they do increase prices, they don't go crazy. Okay, so I'm pretty happy to still be in Singapore, where prices are very, very well controlled. However, if you are going to be, if you are a middle income earner in America watching this video, chances are food prices have been going up consistently. If you actually budget out your whole entire budgeting every single month, and you actually look back in 2021 and from this month and 2021, you probably spend an additional 12 to 18% more in food prices alone. So chances are this is going to be a continuous trend all the way to 2025. My own personal expectation. So I don't think inflation is suddenly just going to dip down all the way, which is why I think this is going to be quite dangerous. which is why also I think that Jerome Powell would easily want to bring up the whole 50 basis point increment. I'm not sure. Personally, I do think that he shouldn't bring up the 50 basis point increment. He should bring up a 25 basis point increment. Otherwise, people are not going to believe in the Feds forever. Jerome Powell is going to get destroyed in the next Senate and House meeting again, because they are all going to just piss on him, saying, oh, you were talking about how, you were going to bring up interest rates and things like that, but you didn't. You lost validity for your own argument, everything, yada, yada, yada. I think probably, for the sake of his own legitimacy of him knowing what he's actually doing, I think he would actually go with the 25 basis point increment. However, I do think that if CPI were to actually suddenly drop a 1% month over month, it actually goes without a doubt that we are going to see a 50 basis point increment. So yeah, we do not know if energy prices would actually suddenly spike up. If energy prices continues to contribute to lower prices, then all is Gucci, okay? But if energy prices suddenly start to contribute to inflation on its own, then you're going to kind of double down and kind of snowball into this huge hyperinflated economy yet again. And then the market's going to tank all over again. Which personally, not gonna lie, I'm still short on the market, and I've been making a lot of money shorting the market. So I'm not gonna complain on that front. But anyway, that's all I have for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.